Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Corinne Lyall, who is broker owner of LePage Benchmark. Thanks for joining us today, Corinne.
Thanks for having me, Mario.
Well, LePage put out its house price survey today nationally, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Calgary numbers. The aggregate Calgary price for a home in the first quarter was $612,000, up 13.3% year over year. Tell me what's happening with prices and why in the market.
Prices and why? Well, number one reason for price increases is our lack of inventory. And so, of course, we've got buyers that were even left over from last year that came into this year still looking for property. Anecdotally, I was talking to a realtor yesterday who said she was working on her 13th offer with the same clients and hoping that that it would go through. And so, because she found out again, she's like, oh, we're in competition again. And so, depending on the price range, there's a very good chance that a lot of buyers are still competing for the same property. And the biggest reason would be just lack of inventory left over from last year, more buyers than there. I mean, it's pure economics, right? Supply and demand.
Well, what I'm curious about was taking a look at the different segments of the market. The price for a single family home was up 18.5%, while for condos was only 5.8%. Why the discrepancy?
That's good, Mark.
Right. What's the reason for the discrepancy there?
Oh, we had so much leftover supply of condos from our last two recessions. And so when our prices corrected back in 2008 and then again like in 2015 14 15, we had a lot of condo developers that came into the market and built projects that just weren't, there just wasn't the number of buyers to be able to support that. And so a number of those projects were delayed and lots, and plus you're competing with resale. And so at one point, about 3 years ago, we had 8 months of supply. And last year, even at this time, we had 5 months of supply. This year at this time, we have 2 months. And so that real shift means that we're absorbing a lot more of the condo market. I mean, there are people that bought in 2014 that still are not seeing the same prices that they bought for, but we're getting closer. And so it's nice to see some of that market being absorbed now for sure.
Now, I imagine simply because of the forecast, you guys are forecasting 8% year over year growth in the fourth quarter by the fourth quarter of this year. So I imagine then those conditions in terms of both supply and demand aren't going to change that much for the rest of this year.
Yeah, I think we're looking at about, if things balance out, it'll probably be closer to the third quarter, in order for us to be able to absorb the number of buyers that are out there. And of course, there is anticipating the impact of the interest rate increases, although it hasn't really impacted us so much as maybe some other bigger cities that have higher price points, because you can still buy at a fairly reasonable price point here. And so, buyers aren't really pushing at that, 800,000 mark or $1 million mark, we're around that 500,000 to 600,000. And so, the interest rate probably won't have as big an impact, but if they do another hike, that could push some buyers out of the market for sure.
Okay, let's talk about those buyers. Why have we seeing this continued demand in the market for people to buy homes? Now, last year was a record year in 2021 for MLS sales in Calgary. We're way ahead of that pace this year. So what's happening that everybody's in a frenzy to buy a home these days?
I think, number one, everybody gets in a frenzy when they hear that interest rates are going to go up. So, if they've been sitting on the fence, they want to do it before that happens. So there's that. But also, too, I mean, there are this is the first time since, I want to say, what was the last time we had positive net migration? 2016, maybe, where we were positive by a couple of thousand. But if you remember, Alberta, it wouldn't be strange to have 20 to 30,000 net migration into our province, right? A number of those people landing in Calgary. Well, we're starting to see that again, and I think that has to do with the fact that unemployment is better. Like, we're seeing more employed people, that there's a lot of companies that are making Calgary their home again. And so there's a lot of positivity around our economy, and it's attracting people from other provinces, specifically Ontario. I mean, every day we're seeing people move from Ontario to here. And I think, number one, because of COVID, is that they have the option potentially of working anywhere in the country. And so Calgary is a great option because of the affordability and just, I think, lifestyle, right? We're family friendly, we're close to the mountains, all those things. So people are considering Calgary a place to move to. So combine that with the positive economic growth that we're experiencing and anticipating, I think that that's a really good, perfect storm for us here.
Yeah, let's talk one last thing and return back to the inventory issue. Like, obviously the inventory is depleted because of the frenzy of activity in the last couple of years. But what are some of the other reasons why we're seeing low inventory in the market?
There's a number of sellers that just have, they're concerned about where they would move to. Right. So if I sell my house, where am I going to go? But it's been a good opportunity, I think, for those that might want to downsize, or maybe they want to find a retirement place somewhere else other than Calgary. It's their opportunity potentially to sell. But there's just, people, I think, are concerned about what they would do. Where would they go if they were to sell their home? We are seeing a little bit more inventory in the last month. A lot of that has to do with just regular spring market conditions, but also too, I think there are a number of people that are now seeing some positive equity growth in their homes. So if I bought in 2014 and I was trying to sell in 2019 or even in 2020, it would be tough, right? Because of our price corrections. Now, I think that people are now seeing, I do have some positive equity growth with the increase in prices. So there is opportunity now to sell your home. It's just knowing where I'm going to move to. That's the piece of it, right?
Yeah. All right. Super. Thanks, Corinne, for joining us today.
You're very welcome, Mario. Nice to see you.
All right, super. That was Corinne Lyall, broker owner of LePage Benchmark in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, taking care of business. Thanks for joining us today.